Just getting some things together with the stick. So it's going to sit in here about like that. Got the horns that go on the stick. Then it comes over to a block. Now we're going to go look at the plans, but the plans really don't have anything to do with reality here. And they're all messed up as usual anyway. So you've got this one little block, 1.5 by 3 inches. And in the plans they actually have it hanging over like this, which is kind of crazy because there's no support and it wants to fall down there. So it should be mounted on a flat surface. So that's what the block looks like, 1.5 by 3 inches. They have it right up against here, but in fact it should be up here because when you measure the distance it doesn't come out properly. So the plan is wrong in a number of ways. I just wanted to show you the picture of what it looks like in place compared to there. So what's going to happen is off of here you're going to come down and there's going to be a turnbuckle here that sends the power back here and back to another assembly to do ailerons. Okay? Now here's the block on the plans. See how it goes right to here and it comes out. But on these sets of plans, that is 3 and about 1/2 inches, 3 3/4. So this is wrong on there, so you got to move it this way, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch this way, because the block is only here in reality, and it should be out here. So you can have those 2 bolts going through to hold that whole conglomeration. It's pretty high. And you also see how you have it hanging over. Well, why in the world would you have it hanging over when there's nothing supporting it there? Then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe I was supposed to put that floor all the way back so it could sit flat on the floor. But the floor ends here. That's where the floor ends on that one cross member. So I don't understand that. I looked on Eric's, his floor ends there too. So that's where the floor ends, all right. So there's nothing in here. So I'm wondering what's in here. Then when you come to the ones where the torque tube will go back and actuate the ailerons, these blocks simply mount. These blocks are just mounted flush here, but there's no support underneath them. And with just that little bit supporting that torque tube and everything there, I just don't like that idea. That's going to be a flimsy little setup. So for this one and for this one, the only support you have for that entire block and this pass-through and the torque tube that's going to be on there is one little bit of 3/4 inch wood all the way along there. That just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. So again, I'm veering away from the plans and I'm going to figure out something to do, and when I figure it out I'll let you know. So here's that stick, comes to here, and you see how that has to be away from the wall there, and that is this whole turnbuckle thing. So the actuator comes in here, pushes this pivots, sends the power back this way. So that's got to be good and firm and in place there to hold all that. And that's those 2 bolts that go through there to hold that, but there's nothing here to support that end of that entire block. And it even shows it here hanging off of the floor with nothing underneath it. That just blows my mind. and then comes back to here and hits these two blocks that hold this entire mechanism. And this entire mechanism is just a flush mounted piece on that seat back there and on that bulkhead there. To me, it just doesn't seem very secure. Has anyone got to this point, and have they built that, and is there any problems with that? Because from what I see, I would like to put something, at least a block under there to support this block that's on there, a block under here to support this block that's on there, so that those aren't just hanging in space. Or am I totally out to lunch here? I'm no engineer, but to me, that doesn't sound like a good idea. So here's that block again from the front view. Quite a contraption here. You've got that main block, this one here, sits like that, with another block and another block to get it up to a height where you can have that turnbuckle in there going back and forth and supported on that side. Again, just those two bolts going through that one cross member, and you've got the upper floor and you've got the bottom of that turnbuckle. It shows another piece of wood under there, and it shows DHAG2, and I'm not sure what those are. It looks to be something coming down here, but there's nothing there. I'm going to look that up. All right, that's the control stick assembly that we're trying to get into place here. And again, here's this. See, they show a lower floor here on this drawing, but there's no mention of it anywhere. They show lower floor all the way up, but there's no mention of that anywhere. Am I missing something somewhere? If you notice really closely here, there's the upper floor, or the floor of the cabin. And then underneath, they've got another piece of ply coming down there. No joint or anything. That actually is a corner right here, and then it continues along there all the way. DHF 24A. DHF 24A is a tail gusset, 1/8 ply, 6 1/2 or 6 1/8 by 10 3/4. That is the tail gusset that we put on the bottom there. And they've got it coming all the way right to the cockpit. And from the cockpit all the way to the front. Somebody explain those plans to me, because I don't see that happening. Let's go back with you. Yeah, there we go. DHF 24A. Remember that one little 1/8 piece? It was just a small piece like that. Okay. All those people that say these plans are perfect, they're blueprints. These are what you have to use. Don't deviate. Well, I'm not politically correct like some people, but you guys are fucked. Just throwing on the side panels. I've got a question. The window. Now, according to the plans, they would leave the plywood short so you can mount the window, and then it would be flush, and that would make sense. So the window would just come right in here. A little less to mount this to, but that's all right. The question I have then, when you're covering it, you would cover it to here, there'd have to be a step, and then wrap the covering around, and wrap the covering around. It would come down a step and then would wrap around. So you'd have to put a step in there, make sure that that's in there, so when the window goes on, you leave room for that window. I'm assuming that's how everyone does it. That's how the plans have it. You can see that the window is mounted here and then all the way out and then all the way up. So the plywood would come to here and would cover this, but it would jog out like that. Is that what everyone does? Or would you have it come flush, then put a little filler piece in here, wrap the fabric around there, and mount the window on top? The only issue I have with doing it like this is how that fabric is going to sit over this edge and come down and around like that. Is it going to pull off of here, or want to pull off of there, but maybe not, because you're going to screw that Lexane right down onto there, I guess. Okay, that probably answers my question. All right, continue on.